Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I'm the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. In our session today, we're going to talk Back to School 2021 as part of our Back to School series that began this month. Today, Mrs. Belinda Wilson, President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, will help me dissect this topic today. So at this time, I will pass this virtual mic to her to have her introduce herself. And also, I want to thank her for joining us and sharing her time with us today. So I will pass the virtual mic to her and have her introduce herself.
Thank you very much, Madam Moss. And it's always my pleasure to share in speaking about school and education. So I'm Belinda Wilson. I'm the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. I lead a team of 15 executives, and we're here to represent our members and to ensure that their rights are protected. So back to school is a timely topic, and we're ready to roll.
So when you talk about education, I just saw you light right up. I just saw you get excited.
It's close to my heart.
I can see that. I can see that. And so, can we talk Back to School 2021? Okay. So typically, the month of August signals back to school, with many students returning back to school. This platform intends to focus on everything back to school. During the month of August, our platform will focus on topics, issues, and challenges surrounding back to school. So 2021, as we know, has been challenging. It's been a challenging year for many persons. There's still uncertainty as it pertains to emergency orders, face-to-face or virtual instructions, and child vaccines. So Can We Talk? We'll seek to dissect these issues. And it is with this in mind that we will begin our session. And so, Ms. Wilson, can you give us some insight into the background and history of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, and mainly the principal objectives of the union, and what is your role as the president?
Well, the Bahamas Union of Teachers, we are 74 years old. Started in 1947 by Sister Mabel Walker, who was also a teacher. We represent teachers, teachers' aides, librarians, guidance counselors. So they comprise our members, and we have approximately 3,000 of them throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, from Grand Bahama in the north to Inagua in the south. And as I said earlier, there's a team of 15 of us. And so we have the president, and that's me. We have a vice president, Tiffany Burrell Roberts. We have our Secretary General, Tiffany Delancey Lang, Assistant Secretary General, Cedrica Roll, our Treasurer, Lorraine Knowles, our Assistant Treasurer, Kitrez Wells. We have 4 area vice presidents, and Strawn from the Southern Bahamas, Eldecia Thompson from the Northern Bahamas, Quinton Larota from Grand Bahama, Vernon Rogers from New Providence District. We have 3 executive members, Judd Williams, Cyril Morris, Wayne Thompson, and we have 2 trustees, Jacqueline McKinsey and Venentia Simmons. So we have the task of running or operating the union for 3 years. So we've been in place now since 2019. The objective of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, actually there are 2 objectives of any trade union. And those 2 objectives are representation for our members and collective bargaining. Now, you know that our unions, we do much, much more than that. And actually, the Bahamas Union of Teachers, our mission is to provide our vision is to provide top quality representation for all our members in the profession of professions. And our mission is to increase the level of membership satisfaction and raise their living standards. So we hope that after 74 years, we're not perfect, but we hope that we're getting it right thus far.
Awesome. So I was just looking at the comments, and I just want to share that Tara, she's saying that she's loving your energy, Ms. Wilson, and Ms. Johnson said that she's tuning in. So I just wanted to touch in the comment section.
So just let them know that this energy really is pent up energy because I'm working from home because of COVID. So she can imagine when I'm let loose, she could stay tuned.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, you talk about the Bahamas Union of Teachers. And so let's talk about the concerns on the teacher side and parent-child side as well. And so you may be aware, that educators, teachers, they may have upcoming concerns for the new school year. And so are you aware of any concerns that teachers may have expressed concerning the uncertainty and what we are facing right now as we go through this pandemic?
Well, the good part for the Bahamas Union of Teachers, as I said earlier, we have 15 executive members who are throughout the Bahamas, but in the 171 schools throughout the Bahamas, we have representatives. So we have what's called a shop steward or an assistant shop steward. And the schools that we don't have a shop steward or assistant shop stewards, there's a district steward, someone that lives on the island in the area who can represent the union's views, but who also has the opportunity to get the views of teachers and get it on to myself and the other officers. So we are quite aware that teachers have a myriad of concerns, and you would note that safety would be the number one concern, especially with the rise in COVID cases. Another concern for our teachers, and I guess you'll be surprised to say, well, hold on, we've been in the pandemic now almost 2 years, and you've been virtual and you've been hybrid and you've used several different models. So why would teachers still now be concerned about, hey, what are we going to do when school opens in less than 2 weeks and students have to be taught by us? So we're still concerned about the virtual platform. And if the Ministry of Education has improved on the platform since school closed for the summer, and adequate equipment, laptops, devices, internet, not only access, but adequacy and efficiency of the internet. So teachers are very concerned, first of all, about safety, and secondly, about what apparatus are we going to use for us to successfully teach and give instructions to our students.
Yeah, I mean, it is a major concern, because we hear that, there is a possibility that teachers may have to take on the virtual classroom, and it's a possibility that face-to-face instructions may be canceled. So I'm sure there are concerns as to, how are we going to address this? I know we would have addressed this in the previous school term, but how are we going to address this moving forward? As we would have saw, there would have been concerns with the virtual platform not being able to accommodate students. So we want to know, how are we going to move forward and maybe improve the conditions for teachers? And so those are viable concerns. And so moving forward, again, how, as we navigate through this pandemic, how has COVID-19 impacted educators as you would have considered the last term? Do you anticipate any future impacts, as it pertains to COVID-19 and education in the classroom?
COVID-19 has impacted teaching and has changed, I guess, the modus operandi of teaching forever. And it's impacted our teachers and students in a negative way. And because our teachers and our students, we like the touching, the hugging. You see, we're now in summer break. The students would want to run and hug their teacher and hug their friends. So 6 feet social distancing does not allow for that. So definitely that impacts us. What also impacts us is that the ministry and the Department of Education has not provided to our satisfaction the equipment and the internet or the virtual platform that is needed for our teachers to reach and teach all of the 48,000 students that we have throughout the Bahamas. So when teachers cannot teach and they feel as though they're hampered or there are obstacles in their way that does not allow them to give their best, then that alone bothers them. Let's take it now to the personal side. We've had teachers who have died as a result of COVID or COVID related. We have teachers who've lost loved ones, and that also impacts us negatively. And just for me alone, as the representative, the official representative of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, and I've been the president now for several years, I don't think there's one member that would have died prior to March 2020 that I did not attend their funeral. I don't think there's one whose funeral I did not attend, be it in Inagua or be it in New Providence. I made it my business to be there to comfort the members and to show support and solidarity from the union's perspective. And so from the emergency orders stating 10, the number of 10 persons to a funeral, that alone was like, but I can't go and hug this teacher who's been supportive of me over the years or who's been active in the union. I cannot support their family. So that's been personal to me. And it's been hard because I pride myself on when you're at that funeral and you look up and you can see that Bahamas Union of Teachers logo, then you know that, hey, my union is here for me. And we've not been able to do that. So what I've had to do really was resort to sending out those sympathies by voice note or on Facebook or by WhatsApp messages to our teachers and their families. So it's negatively impacted us, and it's been a gap. And I'll pause right here just to say to all of those who are mourning, and we have teachers who are also infected with COVID. So we're saying to them, be encouraged today. We're going to get through this. God is still a healer, and we look forward to seeing you in full strength shortly.
I want to thank you for sharing that. Sometimes we need to be reminded as well, of the human side of things. Sometimes things can seem so mechanic, and we're not often reminded that we do have persons who are dying from this. And so I want to thank you for sharing that, and also sharing that you stand in solidarity with educators and you throw your support behind them. So I want to thank you for sharing that as well. And so as we look forward to the upcoming school year, in your estimation, what can students, parents, and teachers expect for the upcoming term in your estimation? I know some of it is a level of uncertainty.
It is.
But I can't really imagine for parents, how anxious they may be. Should their child wear masks? All of these things that persons have to think about.
If it wasn't so serious, it would be hilarious, because less than 2 weeks for our teachers to return, the students had to return a week thereafter. And we are sitting here on a Friday afternoon on the 13th day of August with so many questions and zero answers. So it's frightening that just the thought of what teachers went through last year when COVID started in March, when school closed abruptly, up to June of this year, it's frightening because we still do not have a clear path or plan as to how is school going to open, what is expected of the students, the parents, the teachers. What is it that parents, teachers, students, the union, the other stakeholders are to expect of the ministry and the Department of Education? So that's still a blur. And again, I mean, I almost feel like what I should do is get my voice notes from 2020 and just press play and send it to the ministry and the Department of Education, because the concerns are the same: safety protocols, hand sanitizing, making sure that the schools are disinfected, small class sizes, making sure that there's a sick bay at the school. And I would even take that further now with the Delta variant being more prevalent now in school age children. Then the concern is even greater now as to how do we deliver quality education to our students in a safe environment.
Well, considering the time where we are now, you talk of us being in Friday. It's the 13th of August. Okay, it's August. We expect that school will be open at the end of August, September, and there's no clear pathway on how we're going to approach a new school year. Is this a concern for you? I mean, it's a concern for me. I mean, on many levels, not just as an educator, but as a parent, as a student. Certainly, there should be, some level of how are we going to approach the new school year? I mean, is this a concern for you?
It's a major concern, and I think it's a setup for catastrophe, for chaos, because let's just think about this for a moment. You would have some parents who have not worked for 18 months, and they may have children of school age. They may have a sibling or a significant other or a neighbor or someone who may want to assist them with back to school supplies for their children. So who knows whether you should buy a book bag and uniforms and a new shoe versus getting a tablet or a Kindle or a laptop or a Wi-Fi device for the home. So that alone causes concern. And think again too now, for teachers. Teachers, we do not start preparing for school on the day of school. So teachers want to know, okay, should I invest maybe in a Wi-Fi device, or should I upgrade my laptop? Or where is the Ministry of Education laptop that they should be providing for me, that I should have now, so that I'm able to upload various apps or YouTube or videos that I intend to use, or the various different platforms such as your Zoom, the Google Meet, Google Classroom. So teachers are at a standstill as to how to prepare for the opening of schools. Parents are, on the other hand, even worse, because they're saying, do I spend my last dollar on a book or a pencil, or what do I do? So I'm calling upon the Ministry of Education, as I would have done before, to say to them, get up off of your posterior and communicate to the parents, to the students, to the teachers' unions, and the other unions who are also stakeholders, and clearly articulate what is expected, what is the plan, and how do we move forward on the first day of school. And the first day of school for teachers is August 23rd. The first day of school for the students is August 30th.
Wow, so I think that the time is now to have those conversations. I know we are still surveying the environment and determining the impact of the pandemic, but I think it's time is not now to have those conversations to know, where we headed. And so I want to take it from there and ask you, as you survey the current educational environment, have you identified any major areas of concerns that should be improved, especially now as we approach the upcoming school year?
We would have loved to have, let's say, the curriculum in a digital format. So you would know if you were going face-to-face and face-to-face had to be adjusted and changed to virtual, there's an easy transition. We want to know that we're going to have 10, 12, or 15 students in our classrooms, especially during this time, because the 35, 39, 40 students in the classroom is out, and we will not, teachers will not enter a classroom that's overcrowded. So then what happens to the additional students, the overflow? Where will they be housed? Who will be teaching them? What format will they be taught? That's important. Then again, how do we operate on a day-to-day basis at school, at the school, even if you are away from the school? Then how are we signing on? Is the platform ready, available, adequate? And overall, we want to know, how do we do this? How do we do it safely? And I can't emphasize that enough. Again, parents need to be engaged by the ministry, where the parents feel safe enough to know that their children will be coming to school. I believe even now, there should be the free testing for the students and the teachers and the support staff on all of these campuses to ensure that if
the
COVID testing.
Okay.
COVID testing, there should be COVID testing. So you would know what the status is. You would have the data and the statistics in front of you, which should help to drive the policy and the decisions that you're going to make.
So as you would have spoken about, the need for testing on campuses, well, that would depend, how the environment, how the schools are going to be open, and if they're going to allow face-to-face instruction. But should that time come, and as we survey the environment around us, and we see the discussion and the discourse about vaccines and mandatory vaccination, I don't know if this is something that you could want to talk about, you can let me know. But should that topic arise, how would you address that with your union and the topic of mandatory vaccinations?
Okay, let me say this. I'm an educator. I'm a trade unionist. I'm a sportswoman. I'm a coach. I'm not a medical professional. So I'm going to leave vaccination and the choice of vaccination up to the teachers individually. That is personal to them and their families. Now, if the Ministry of Education wants to provide free testing, if they want to engage the union on vaccination, then we are open for the discussion. But I'm going to be clear that the choice to vaccinate or not to vaccinate is solely left to the teacher and the teacher's family and their medical doctors or the persons that they get medical advice from. But again, that does not, in my mind, negate the fact that the Ministry of Education should have engaged not only teachers, but even parents to get the information as to who may be vaccinated, who may not be vaccinated, and which parents intend to vaccinate their children. Because again, when you have knowledge, when you have information, when you have empirical data that helps you to make the correct or proper decisions. And without information, I don't know how the Ministry of Education intends to drive the policies forward, especially in this rise of COVID cases and deaths in the Bahamas.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for answering that question. And again, as we look at the environment, I know I've seen parents in schools with their kids, our neighbors, there have been mask mandates in school, and parents are pushing back, and they're saying that they don't want their children wearing masks. They don't think that, children should be muzzled, and is an issue. So you see the discussion on both sides of the fence. So when are we going to have these discussions as we approach? Time is ticking away. We're moving very quickly into the new school year. So I'm wondering, I don't know if these discussions have been had, but when are we going to have these discussions?
Well, I must say the mask mandate we already have. If you would read the emergency orders, it speaks to wearing of masks once you're outside of your home, and for the last school year, for the short time that students went face to face, the mandatory mask wearing was done. We don't have a concern about the mask wearing, but what our concern is that we are aware that the teachers they're wearing masks, but let's go back to the students. So you're talking about students from preschool up to grade 12. So what we would have recommended to education is that the school day, the timetable, the periods be adjusted, where let's say you have shortened periods, which gives longer breaks. So on the longer breaks, if the students are allowed to go outside, and most of the schools have large fields, the grass area that's outside, so they can be monitored where they are in small groups, and you're able to social distance, but take the mask off for a few minutes, and then you come back into the classroom. So these may seem as minute or small adjustments, but those small adjustments help for us to be able to teach and to learn successfully. Because if you, instead of sitting in the classroom for a 40-minute period, and you say, guess what, we're going to cut the periods down to 30 minutes. We let the students out 10 minutes earlier so they can breathe, so they can take the mask down for a few minutes. They can social distance. What's also very important too is that each classroom has cross ventilation. So simple as having a classroom window open. Some of the classrooms have plexiglass on it, but there's no air conditioning in the room. That's operable. So if you have the windows open and the doors open and the breeze can go across, that's important according to the medical professionals. So these are small, basic things that the union, you would hear pushing back and pushing forward to say, let's get these things done. They're not things that are difficult. Some of the things don't even cost money to the government, but we need the policies in place and the regulations that guide these policies.
Thank you for sharing. And so as we, near to the end of this session, I wanted to ask if you have any additional comments you wanted to add, particularly as we look to the upcoming school year.
Well, what I really want to say to the Minister of Education is to cut the rhetoric. The time for talk has expired. We've been through this pandemic now for, like I said earlier, a year and a half, almost 2 years. So the Ministry of Education should have already examined what works and what does not work. And whatever works, you keep. What does not work, you throw away or you improve. Once they've done that review, which should have been done from the summer while school was closed, once you've done that review, then the minister, the director, the permanent secretary must articulate to the public, to the parents, to the students, to the teachers, to the unions, to the community, what works, what did not work, and how they went about improving it, and give us a clear idea on how we're going to teach our students, how the students are going to learn in a safe environment. I want to say to teachers, because we have some shop stewards out there, some district stewards, some assistant shop stewards, and I'm saying to you, throughout this entire pandemic, they've been the vehicle that we've used, and I've used in particular, to get messages out on our various chat groups to our teachers throughout the country. And those shop stewards, district stewards, and executive officers who know who they are, who've worked, tirelessly. Sometimes we have to send a message out at 2 a.m. in the morning. And sometimes I'm putting those messages together and saying, these people sleeping. They don't have time. They'll get it in the morning. And you'll post that. And you would have teachers who would answer and say, I'm awake. I hear the message, I'm awake. And thanks just for the word of encouragement, because that is what is needed throughout this entire pandemic. So for me, it's to the teachers, first of all. They know the love I have for them. They know that I'll go to the ends of the earth to represent them. But I want them to know that the union is here for them, to represent them, to make sure that their rights are protected. We're here to stand in solidarity with them. And so I want to say, as we wind down to start the new school year, that the Bahamas Union of Teachers, despite the naysayers, the haters, don't worry about them, know that we are the union of choice. Know that we are the union 74 years old. We're veterans in this. We are strong. We stand strong with you. We stand in solidarity, and we're here to support you. The other thing is, there are some new teachers that are coming on, and we welcome them to the profession of professions, and they know that we are here to serve their needs and to guide them. So all I want to say to our teachers is to stay safe, follow the safety protocols. Know that we're here for you. All the best for the beginning of the new school year. And they know what I love to tell them: solidarity forever.
Ms. Wilson, you said a mouthful. So Ms. Coleman is saying yes, 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 Ms. Wilson, yes. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing that. I want to thank you for the message to the haters. I don't know who the haters are, but
well, plenty of them out there. Don't worry about them. Hey, show them the hand and keep going.
I want to thank you for the message to the haters. And also, I wanted to talk about what you would have spoken about, which is, you look at what you have already done, and you see that if it didn't work, you throw it away. If it worked, you keep it. And so that's just a simple act of planning. And so if we haven't reached a stage where we can, know that, okay, we've already walked this road. We know what didn't work. We know what's going to work. And if we haven't reached that stage of planning, then that's a major concern. That's a major concern. And so I understand that there are various stakeholders in this group. We have our educators, we have our teachers, we have our parents and we have our students, and also the administrators as well, the administrators of the school. So there are various stakeholders who will be impacted. And so we need to have this discussion. We need to have a talk about how we are going to approach the upcoming school year. And as you talk about, the opening is very soon. And so, I'm wondering, when are we going to have this discussion? And so I'm just going to look into the comments one more time. So Wendy Hanna is saying, very good presentation, of very informative and most appreciated. So she's saying, good job, Madam President.
Thank you.
Laquelle McKinsey is saying, my president.
Yeah, yes, McKinsey.
Ms. Duncombe, she posts some fire emojis. So Ms. Wilson, are you on fire?
Always. I always on fire for the teachers. Always.
Ms. Duncombe is saying solidarity forever. Is that the team you said?
Yes, solidarity forever is really, it's a trade union motto.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Duncombe is saying solidarity forever, my president. And so we have a lot to unpack for this school year. We have a lot of concerns. We have a lot of uncertainties for this upcoming school year as we navigate through this pandemic and as we consider our educators and also our parents and our students who have to prepare. Some persons are out of work and they need to get their kids ready for back to school. So how do we approach this? I mean, I'm sure there's so many questions that we need answers to. And so as we close, Ms. Wilson, this platform, we want to continue this discussion because these talks matter. But Ms. Wilson, are there any final thoughts or any encouragement you want to send to your educators as well as the upcoming students coming into the new school year? Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, so again, I just want to say to our educators, you are appreciated. We are aware of the hard work that you've done, not only in the former years, but especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm telling you, hats off to our teachers. They've been excellent. So many of them have invested in their own platforms. They've made their own manipulatives and their materials. Some have turned their bedrooms into classrooms. So I just want to say thank you to them. And they know that the union makes us strong. And they also know that I'm fighting and making sure that we get that increment that is due to us. And if we don't get that increment, I'm calling on all of them to join me. We're going to Bay Street. So I'm saying to them, just hold on. Some good things, it's on the way. Solidarity forever.
Oh gosh. So our students and our parents.
Well, definitely to the parents, I really want to say to the parents, I want you to be encouraged because I know it's a lot that you're going through. And then you have the little ones that are looking up to you for answers and you don't have the answers. But if you're out there and you're unemployed, the Bible says your gift makes room for you. And I could tell you during the pandemic, I started cooking and baking. And I said, oh, I didn't know I could do Johnny cake and just find something for your hands to do and do it well. And that gift in making room for you can also provide some monies for you. So don't just sit and say, oh, the hotel is closed and I don't know what to do. Think about what are your gifts and talents. Think about what you're passionate about and what you like to do. And just go there and do it. Just do it. To the children, I know this has to be difficult for you because we're trying to navigate as adults. So I know for you, it's even more difficult. So just hang in there a little longer. Just pray a little harder when you go to bed. Going to bed, just say that little prayer for your teachers and for the school and for your parents and for your friends. And just know that we're going to get through this. And you as children will be able as adults to give the story really of how you lived through the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020, 2021.
Yeah, that is powerful, powerful, Miss Wilson. As we think about the little kids and, not being able to run up and down, not being able to play, as they normally would. And so we think about the parents and we also think about the kids as well. And so before we end the session, I wanted to highlight Miss Maury's comment. She said, "Good evening. At this point, we're in the dark as to which model we'll be operating under come September. Is there any word in that order that we may plan accordingly? Maybe it was stated already. I'm sorry if I missed it."
You didn't miss it. We're still waiting to find out from the Ministry of Education what is the plan going forward. And you know what else too, Moss, I think needs to happen, because I must say, and it doesn't matter because I'm never scared, but I must say that the public seems to ask, what is Miss Wilson saying? So today I'm asking the parents, what are you saying? You need to speak up for your children. You need to let the powers that be that we need information so that we can prepare our children in the best way we can for the upcoming school year.
Absolutely. And that is powerful in and of itself. I think, and I always say, you can't fight for people who are not willing to fight for themselves. And so if you want to see change, you have to create that change. And so I want to thank you for sharing that. Miss Wendy Hannah says, shout out to Miss C. Dean. And then there's a few other persons in the comments. They're saying that they appreciate you, Miss Wilson. And so I just want to thank you for your time today, and also celebrate you that you're never scared. You can't be scared.
Never scared.
Can't be scared.
Never.
No.
Yeah, but they know I appreciate them too. So I'm glad that they were able to tune in, because I know people are busy and it's a lot going on, but they're able to tune in, just hear a little bit of what it is that we have to say. And I appreciate you too, Deidre, and you keep up the good work that you're doing as a young person, because all of these platforms are important to get the message out, to get our voices heard. So you be encouraged and you continue to tap in to those topics that are topical issues and important for the development of our country.
Well, Ms. Wilson, I want to thank you for that encouragement. It's definitely challenging, I must say. But I want to thank you for sharing. And I think it is important for us to really talk about these issues, because these are the issues that we're facing. Some of us are parents, we're Bahamians, and we are from different parts of the world. We're dealing with similar issues. All around the world, there's the issue with back to school, and different persons, they're dealing with masks, vaccines. These are the questions that are on people's minds. And so I want to thank you for sharing that. It's definitely not easy, especially sometimes you don't always have the support, but it's important to get started. And so I want to thank you for sharing that encouragement. And when you open up yourself to these things, you can't be scared. You can't be scared to you can't be scared. And so I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, being open to come forward and to talk about these things. And you definitely not afraid to answer any question.
Oh, no.
So I want to thank you for joining me today.
It's been my pleasure. And I say to them, as I say to you, solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever. So I want to thank you. And with that, we will end this session. And so I want to thank you again.